Well, good evening, everyone. I am Mayor Tom Chavez, and on behalf of Temple City and the City Council, I am honored today to give the 2016 State of the City Address. The Council and I wish to inform residents and business leaders of what we are doing to maintain our quality of life and to build Temple City into the strong regional partner that we know a prosperous future requires. This is a wonderful opportunity to evaluate where we've been and get the community involved in where we're going. But first, I would like to introduce Pastor Jim Walden. Jim, if you'll come up. Pastor Walden will be providing the invocation this evening. And once we're done with the invocation, if you'll remain standing, we're very happy this evening to have Mackenzie Byers here to lead us in the national anthem. So, Pastor, it's all yours.
Would you like us to stand?
Yes, please.
Would you stand if you're able? Once again, we cannot be more thrilled to host. Thank you so much for being here. Let's pray. Father, what a great night this is, and I want to thank you for the city, Temple City, California, that you love. God, all through Scripture, you love cities and towns, and I want to thank you again for the privilege to gather tonight. So grateful for our Mayor Tom Chavez, for the City Council. Each of them matters to you so much. Father, thank you for each one that's come. Every citizen of this town is vital and important. And we're so grateful for how you have blessed America. You have blessed this city. And we want to ask that you would bless us with your presence tonight. And thank you that we can get together like this in such a fantastic country. It is from you, and I want to thank you for all of that. In Jesus' name I say, amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, you may be seated. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Mackenzie. It was awesome. Thank you very much. Well, I want to start this evening by introducing my hardworking council colleagues. First of all, I'd like to introduce Mayor Pro Tem Vincent Yu. Vincent? Councilmember Nanette Fish. Councilmember William Mann. And Councilmember Cynthia Sternquist. Of course, our two newest members, William and Nan, they've been working so hard the past year. They both share a great love for the city, and I'm so confident that they're going to do a fantastic job over the next 3 years. And it's been a pleasure working with you this past year, so thank you so much. Cynthia, you and I go back the furthest, back to the old Parks and Rec days. I know sometimes we probably wish we were still there, but it's been an honor and a privilege to have worked with you for now, I think, 12 years. So thank you so much. Vince, You and I came in together, and we're probably going to go out together. You know, Vince and I both served on commissions before we ran for election in 2009, but neither one of us knew each other. Once we were elected, or actually during the election, we found that we share a lot of the same visions, a lot of the things that we think alike on. And we've got to know each other very well over the last 7 years, and I just want to tell you it's been a privilege and an honor to work with you as well, so thank you so much. Next, I want to recognize our city manager, Brian Cook. Brian has done a wonderful job since coming to Temple City, and I'm so very grateful for his leadership. Brian, you want to wave to everybody? You don't have to stand. Now, Brian has brought what I would call a calm professionalism to City Hall. I truly believe he loves the city, and I know that he's going to continue to do what's best to make the quality of life as it is in Temple City and just work on all the services that we provide. So thank you, Brian. Thank you for coming to our city, and we look for a long relationship. So thank you. Also deserving of thanks, as we've previously met, Pastor Jim Walden for allowing us the use of this lovely facility. Thank you so much. Let's hear for Jim. And of course, Jerry Jambazian, the historian behind TempleCityPhotos.com, who provided us with many of the photos that you're going to see tonight. Where is Jerry? Wave, Jerry. There he is. Okay. Community Media of Foothills for its audio-visual production that you'll see tonight. Of course, I have to thank my wife, Jane. You know, I know it's a cliche, but she truly is my best friend. You know, she's shown unwavering support for me these past few years, and I think as my colleagues can attest, it's not easy being a spouse of a council member sometimes. Those late evenings, those long meetings, but she's always been there to give me support. But even better, she's always there to tell me when I'm maybe going off to the wrong path. So thank you for that as well. And finally, of course, I want to offer my deepest gratitude to our hardworking city staffers. You know, without them, none of what we have here in Temple City would have been possible. They continually to make our job easier, and they care deeply for the success of our community. I want to send a special thanks to Brian Hayworth and to Mike Brannon for their help in getting this speech together and putting everything together this evening. So thank you, gentlemen, very much. I think they deserve a hand as well. Now, compared to previous years in the proud history of Temple City, 2015 was rather quiet. Some of you remember that last time I was mayor, we had this little windstorm kind of blow through the city. I don't know if you remember that. So knock on wood, I've got a few more weeks to go and we're home free. So no natural disasters. But that doesn't mean nothing happened in City Hall. First and foremost, we maintained our well-deserved reputation as a safe place to live and work. The experts at SafeWise.com yet again had Temple City on its list of the top 50 safest municipalities in California. That's a wonderful testament, of course, to our law enforcement officials, as well as Temple City's Eyes on the Streets, our neighborhood watch. In 2015, alert residents prevented a number of burglaries that resulted in arrests. Interest in the neighborhood watch is very high, with each meeting having at least 85 to 90 residents on hand. That commitment to upholding Temple City's safety and quality of life is greatly appreciated by the council. If any captains of our neighborhood watch are in attendance, as well as our Temple City deputy sheriffs, please stand so we may recognize and thank you. I know we have a few here this evening. And of course, you know, much of what we do as far as keeping our city safe starts with our great sheriff department, our Temple Station, and I'm pleased to welcome tonight Captain Corone Jacobs, who is with us this evening, right down here in front. Captain Jacobs. Now, in other public safety accomplishments, we completed the relocation and outfitting of our Emergency Operations Center. Now we have a dedicated space where we can coordinate Temple City's emergency planning, training, response, and recovery efforts, rather than a makeshift setup in a multi-purpose room. And we readied for El Nino. You kind of remember what that is? I don't know, it's coming, I think. Catch basins and culverts continue to be inspected and cleared of debris. We've held meetings with our partner response agencies such as the Fire Department, Sheriff's Department, and the Red Cross. Residents have received informational flyers giving tips on how to prepare for torrential rain and what to do if and when the storms arrive. Members of our Community Emergency Response Team, otherwise known as CERT, have pre-filled sandbags. Now, we all pray that none of these efforts or none of these preparations will be needed, but if they are, Temple City is ready. Now, along with boasting of our safe streets, I am just as pleased to brag about Temple City's sound balance sheet. Making sure our bottom line stays in the black takes planning, sacrifice, and hard, sometimes boring work. Many elements of good governance are not exciting, but nobody wants the excitement that follows if you waste taxpayers' dollars. So with every passing day, we get a little further away from the economic slump that started in 2008. Many cities around us are still paying the price for a lack of financial foresight before those hard years. But we have emerged in a position of strength. And in one way, it's a strength that we always possessed, yet many of us took it for granted. Temple City held fast against the economic slowdown because it is mostly residential, almost 90% so. The cities suffering the worst were dependent upon sales taxes. Yes, our hometown is quiet, but we control our own destiny and are less subject to the global gyrations of the economy. So the next time you hear an outsider dismiss Temple City as simply a bedroom community, you can tell them that we sleep very well at night. Our finances are clean because revenue is up while expenses are down. That's exactly the combination we want. We took in more money than expected because of rising property values, more construction, and a robust environment for retail sales. Meanwhile, greater efficiency in City Hall allowed us to reduce general fund spending by 3% compared to the previous fiscal year. In addition, our reserves were bolstered by $2 million, an increase of 11%. And all of this was done while leaving untouched our high quality of services Temple City has come to expect, if not making them better. Now, we found money by refinancing prior debt incurred by our former redevelopment agency. By doing this, we will pay off the debt a year sooner than first expected, while saving $600,000 over the next decade, all to the benefit of our city and, more importantly, our local public schools. Also, we were able to get more from less in our fleet services when we decided to rent city vehicles rather than buy them. You may already have seen them on the roads. It's a win-win, logistically and financially, newer vehicles that we don't have to maintain, while $400,000 doesn't have to be spent. Now, of course, many of you are familiar with our most popular recreation offering, the Summer Concert Series, which draws thousands every summer to Temple City Park on Wednesday evenings. They benefited from a 40% increase in sponsorships and other outside financial support over the previous year. And that means we are saving and reinvesting an additional $15,000 while bringing in new acts. We thank our sponsors for their generosity, those that are listed on the board there. But you know, this happy news is from the mayor, who could, of course, be expected to come tonight with sunshine and smiles. However, city can't fool the accountants, not for long anyway, which is why I'm thrilled to say that we earned a clean audit yet again. These independent audits act as credit scores for governments, and having good-looking books is crucial for decreasing borrowing costs when you want to issue bonds. Also, this was the third straight year that we received an award from Government Finance Officers Association for making Temple City's financial documents transparent, informative, and easy to understand. Now, having an outside agency audit our financial ledgers is just one way we in City Hall demonstrate our transparency to our community. We are using technology to promote accountability and make the inner workings of government more accessible to citizens. We're continuing to make Temple City's public records available for viewing on the internet. And meanwhile, last March, on our election night, there was an internet live feed of the counting of the ballots. Further underscoring our commitment to clean government, we as a council, as well as our commissioners and city staff, are complying with ethics training that is far more stringent than state standards require. Then there's our responsibility to take care of what's already been built. As part of our pavement management program, last year we resurfaced 5.5 miles of road. This means that in 2014-2015, we repaved more miles than for the totals many years prior. This is a good time to note that starting in the spring, we're going to start resurfacing Temple City Boulevard from border to border. Now, before the social media starts filling up, please keep in mind that this is not a total renovation as we did with Rosemead Boulevard. Rather, it's what we call a simple scrape and pave with minimum disruption to our businesses and residents, and it won't require the closure of the entire road. Now, finally, there are the small, easily overlooked matters that are nevertheless critical for an efficient and effective government. A fine example is the much-needed updating of procedures, policies, and user fees for our parks and recreation facilities, such as community rooms and picnic shelters. With our limited space yet high demand, it's just good governance and best practices to squeeze as much utility as we can out of what we have. Also, businesses can now renew online. And we approved new rules for cell towers, medical marijuana dispensaries, and massage parlors. Now, of course, none of this is groundbreaking, but all of it is essential to preserve the quality of life that brought us to Temple City. Now, that was a rundown of all the ways Temple City is a great place because we used our heads. But that's only half the story. I want to tell you about our community's caring, lively, and compassionate heart. Temple City is home to 1,100 veterans, so we will always be very grateful for the contributions and sacrifices made by our men and women in the armed services. The Blue Star banners on their streetlights are one way that the community shows its thanks. And last year, we brought back another tradition, the Veterans Day celebration. I'd like to thank the help of the American Legion, the Blue Star Banner Group, and the committee for getting this event back on its feet. Even more, just last week, the council approved funding for a Veterans Memorial in Temple City Park, and we're hoping to have it ready for dedication this November. So at this time, I would like to ask any veterans, our Blue Star Banner members, and any of you who helped with the Veterans Day celebration who are present, please stand so that we can acknowledge and thank you. Temple City and its partners have taken steps to also invigorate the Camellia Festival, the event that's now in its 72nd year. Of course, this is what distinguishes our hometown from all the others. After recent festivals, we noticed attendance was dropping. So we asked why and learned from people that they thought it was the same things again and again. So we listened, and in the previous 2 years, we've made improvements. This year, we've hired a new carnival vendor who will bring in a fresh variety of rides and attractions. And we're making it convenient for people to attend by giving them the option of buying tickets online. We hope you will enjoy this year's festival, which starts this Friday and runs through the weekend. Remember, if you attended Temple City High School, don't forget the mini reunion that we have on Saturday night. It's always a really nice thing. It started a couple years ago, and it's a great tradition that keeps growing. Now, during the recent holiday season, there was a smaller event that didn't get much publicity, if any, but it embodied what Temple City is all about. It was the inaugural holiday dinner and toy giveaway, in which city staff and after-school program children fed 10 families and gave them gifts. Some of our employees even cooked the food, and it was very good. No city money was spent, but many city employees gave very generously. We hope to expand this event next year because Temple City always takes care of their own. However, our city employees are not alone in giving to our community. We estimate our volunteers, numbering as many as 250, donated a total of 10,000 hours in 2015, helping at special events, in our recreation programs, and at our senior luncheons. In addition, the City Council has 4 standing commissions, plus the General Plan Advisory Committee, comprised of citizens and business owners who freely give their time and views regarding issues affecting the city. If any volunteers and commissioners are in attendance, and some of you may fall into both categories, please stand so we may recognize and thank you. Our youth committee didn't know whether they should stand or not, but we'll get to them in a little bit. Now, 2015 was a quiet but good year for Temple City. But now I want to focus on the challenges ahead of us, because our decisions in 2016 may be applauded for decades or cursed for just as long. You know, there are many words to describe our downtown: charming, small, unique. But a few years ago, the words took on a negative tone: tired, run down, and old. As many of you know, the council recently ended a lengthy discussion whether Temple City wanted its downtown revitalization efforts around drastic changes to Las Tunas Drive. Because the community made its wishes clear to the council, there will be no reduction of traffic lanes on Las Tunas. At this moment, there is a consensus that a different approach can help us better achieve our aims. However, if we're going to rejuvenate our downtown, let's make sure we do it right. What should come next is asking tough questions before we commit to anything. Should there be a business improvement district where those with the greatest stake have the greatest say, as well as the greatest obligations, perhaps financially? Do our existing development and zoning standards allow us to attract dynamic yet sensible investment? Would we want to look into imposing redevelopment powers as a way to finance and achieve our revitalization goals? Is it appropriate to spend public tax money on attracting new businesses and improving the storefronts of those already here? And the toughest question of all: what is our vision of downtown? We can't arrive at our preferred destination unless we know where we're going. Now, because downtown belongs to neither the council nor the planners, I don't believe the answers to these questions should come solely from City Hall. The council acted when you told us you didn't want something, but now you have to let us know what you do want. In the near future, the city can facilitate that dialogue. Now, we have heard time and time again, particularly during our visits with the business community, a desire to increase the number of parking spaces while improving the lots that we already have. The council repeatedly hears such calls from business owners and the community at large. This spring, the council will receive a proposed redesign plan that would create 30 to 40 new spaces on the former mortuary site, with work scheduled to start this summer. Also, the city is looking at expanding the lot on Primrose Avenue north of Las Tunas by an additional 30 to 50 spaces. And we bought 2 properties to get that done. Both lots will be designed to maximize safety, efficiency, and aesthetics. When I mentioned our rosy financial picture a few minutes ago, this is what we can do with the savings. That wasn't me. Now, the next big project that we're going to take on is Temple City Plaza, commonly known as Kmart Plaza, on the southwest corner of Las Tunas and Rosemy. Now, this strip center is past its prime, to put it charitably, and it's anchored by a department store that, while successful, is subject to the whims of its parent company. But looking ahead, the property is filled with potential. It's a big piece of land, more than 20 acres, in a great spot on a corner of 2 well-traveled roads. The city's role is to paint the big picture of what we'd like built there, and all it takes is foresight and commitment. And that highlights the theme of this year's State of the City address: partnerships. You see, Temple City does not and cannot exist in a vacuum. Too much of what we do has an impact, direct and otherwise, upon outside stakeholders. And so we must work in Temple City to ensure that Temple City doesn't just unilaterally operate, rather it cooperates. Successfully shepherding an idea with potential into kinetic development takes cooperation. You see, at Temple City Plaza, there is no one landowner. So the challenge was building consensus among those property owners to determine the site's future. Let's have a representative of one property tell you what's going on.
Temple City Plaza was originally built in the 70s by a public-private partnership between the city's redevelopment agency and George Graziadio, the founder of Commerce Realty. George and his business partner were the first to bring a Kmart shopping center to the western United States. Temple City Plaza is unique in that it consists of separate parcels owned by 5 owners. Graziadio Family Development owns the Kmart parcel, which represents more than 50% of the shopping center. The current challenges facing Temple City Plaza are its age and the changes in the way people shop. Consumer shopping options have increased dramatically, and they no longer need to be in a physical location to make a purchase or gather information on products. Because of this digital disruption, shopping centers have to be engaging and inviting for consumers. That means a redeveloped Temple City Plaza must be digitally friendly and include more restaurants, service and entertainment tenants, as well as a residential component. The general plan amendment presented by Temple City was well received by the owners. Now we have a tremendous opportunity to develop a mixed-use project that the property owners, tenants, and residents of Temple City would be proud of. It's exciting that 40 years after our first public-private partnership, we can redevelop Temple City Plaza to serve the next generation.
Bill Lang, please stand so we may thank you for your commitment to a better Temple City. Now, this project gets to a bigger picture of what Temple City wants from new commercial developments. The council and the city planners have listened to residents' requests for centers where we can shop, eat, and live. Now, being built out as we are, we have to seize every opportunity to maximize the use of a piece of land. If we plan properly, we can create something grand, a destination, With your help, we can make the future happen now. Now, another partnership has benefited our local school districts in Temple City for decades. As you know, recreation space in our city is limited, so we've been contracting with Temple City Unified and El Monte school districts to use their facilities for Stars Club after-school program and rec league basketball. But Temple City's needs are growing, with our residents requesting more leagues and classes. And at the same time, we must respect the needs of the school districts are growing too. In fact, space at the Oak Avenue Intermediate School gym may not be available this summer, which could limit or even eliminate some of the city's athletic programs. If we're going to augment our current recreational facilities, we must find alternatives. And that's why we're looking into renting space from local churches. Their facilities are not used as much during the week, which is when the city has many of its programs. Emmanuel Church and the city currently are deep into negotiations, and an agreement most likely will be executed this spring, which will allow for us to use the church's gym and dance room so that we may continue our robust recreational programming. The city is also in talks with First Lutheran Church for a similar arrangement with its facilities. Now, there's another partnership that has delivered Temple City a much-desired improvement to our recreation infrastructure. By mid-year at Live Oak Park, we are expected to open a new walking path. This half-mile-long path will be rubberized, ADA compliant, wider than most so people can move in either direction, and I know Jane's going to love this, pet-friendly, with waste stations and dual-height drinking fountains for both dog and owner, little, tall. We expect construction to start in April with an official grand opening event in early summer. Now, if you're wondering about the cost of the path, let me assure you that the city's outlay is only $80,000, one-fourth the total tab of $320,000. Remember what I said about how we're saving money in City Hall? Well, this is just the kind of project that we can better afford thanks to that increase in efficiency. The rest of the path's cost is being paid with county bond money. Let's learn a little more about that.
Temple City and the County of Los Angeles are important partners in servicing approximately 36,000 residents of this great city. Examples of this partnership include the sheriffs and the fire departments providing public safety services, the Department of Public Health providing restaurant inspections and grading, and the Department of Public Works providing flood control and building and safety assistance. The Live Oak Park Walking Jogging Path project was awarded $240,000 as part of a competitive grant program called by Supervisor Antonovich. Projects that were taken in consideration consisted of improvements and rehabilitation of existing public parks and development of small facilities. Priority was given to projects that serve at-risk youth and seniors. The path not only will provide the hundreds of senior citizens who visit the park daily with a facility where they can safely walk, but it will also provide a place for those who are mobility impaired to participate. The park hosts a senior meals program and is across the street from a large assisted living convalescent hospital. The future opportunities for other partnership ventures are endless. We appreciate the city collaborating with the residents and other community organizations such as the school district, the Chamber of Commerce, and churches to work together to find innovative ways to improve the community.
Brian Mejia from County Board of Supervisor Michael Antanovich's office. Thank you for this addition to our park. And thanks again to this partnership, there may be another wonderful addition coming to Temple City. We currently are in negotiations to open the county's first children's library somewhere in the Civic Center complex. If it comes together, our city will have an unmatched facility for promoting literacy, culture, and fun. More information is expected to be brought before the council this summer. And I want to thank especially council members Sternquist and Fish for spearheading this project. Thank you very much. Now, this path and this library are only two demonstrations of Temple City's partnerships with other governments in our region. You may not know that council members also sit on panels comprised of other local elected officials. Councilmember Sternquist is part of the governing board of the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, on the Regional Transportation Committee of the Southern California Association of Governments, and soon to have a seat on the Foothill Transit Governing Board. It's nice to be retired, I guess. Good job. And I serve on the California Joint Powers Insurance Authority. Now, on these boards, we look for regional solutions to problems that are too big to be handled locally. For example, the Council of Governments, better known as the COG, has been working on stormwater runoff. Not exactly a sexy issue, but one that can hit cities with huge financial expenses. At the CJPIA, our goal is to control the cost of liability insurance for public sector organizations such as Temple City. On both of these panels, Temple City has a voice in finding solutions. And we've reached a point where Temple City does more than just give an opinion. As a member of CJPIA's executive committee, I can lead the conversation. Now, Cynthia and I got to these positions through experience, gained through seniority. As on these regional bodies, it takes time for an elected official to get their footing. In the future, the other members of our council should enjoy the same opportunities for leadership. I'd like to close my remarks by talking about another partnership of Temple Cities. But in this case, we're not pairing with an outside stakeholder. Rather, it's a partnership that we've made with our future. After my colleagues and I are long gone from City Hall, one of the innovations I am proudest to leave behind is the establishment of our award-winning youth committee. It began as a way to work with our local schools so students could gain volunteer experience, but the talent was being wasted on duties such as setting up special events. So we expanded the role of the committee because the goal was to give these students insight into how government works. And now they're learning more than in a typical civics class, and even better, the focus is local rather than at the national or state level. For example, the committee decided it wanted to look at possibilities for downtown revitalization. I guess pretty topical, I think, huh? To learn more, they toured other local downtowns, compiling their findings for peer review. In addition, they worked to promote water conservation. Our local water purveyors contributed $1,500 for a water conservation drive. And thanks to one initiative, soon there will be barrels at Temple City High School to collect rain. To encourage reading and enhance the community, they plan to hold a book drive and open little libraries throughout town where residents can gather to share their favorite literature. The first two little libraries will be installed later this spring at Live Oak Park and Temple City Parks. Of course, there is one up on the screen, and you may have noticed one out in the courtyard area. If you haven't seen it, there was one out there. Beautiful job. Now, members of the committee even took it upon themselves to join the Community Emergency Response Team, as well as convincing, I believe, up to 25 of their peers to do the same. After a full weekend of training, they now have basic knowledge of what to do in the aftermath of a disaster, such as shutting off the gas and power or executing triage for first aid when first responders can't be on the scene in time. In addition to bolstering the community's readiness, this training fosters critical skills such as problem solving, teamwork, creativity, leadership, and communication. At the closing ceremony, I remember telling them not only thank you, but our community is now 30 young men and women safer than we were yesterday. Now, as wonderful as these contributions are for Temple City, this was not the goal in starting up the youth committee. So let's have a member explain.
I joined the youth committee to be more involved in the city of Temple City and improve my leadership skills, such as public speaking. Also, I wanted to be an advocate for youth. As a youth committee member, I have learned how the city council impacts our community and how decisions are made. I now know how all of the committees and commissions work with the council to do the best they can for the city. My fellow members and I have worked together on projects and so have become better communicators. Our success on water conservation efforts and youth disaster preparedness are legacies I'm proud to pass along to Temple City's future. The committee is teaching a new generation how to be more involved, and we will carry this through our adult lives. Today's committee member may be tomorrow's school board president, mayor, or simply a citizen who cares about the community.
You know, members of the youth committee, what you've given to Temple City is nothing compared to what you're going to give the world. So please stand so we may recognize and thank you. Now, to deliver upon that potential, it is now up to all of us. The council, city staff, residents, and business owners. Separately, it would be a struggle. But as partners, it will be a success. May God continue to bless the United States of America and the city of Temple City. Thank you so much for coming, and good night.